All right. Good afternoon, everybody. I apologize for starting a couple of minutes late. Of course, the keynote was fabulous, but I guess we've all been starting a little after than expected. So let's get started. Welcome, first of all, to this first session of the Partner Success Track. My name is Indrajit Sen, and I'm a Global Partner Marketing Manager here at Salesforce. So welcome again, and let's get started. So before I begin, I'm kind of required to show you this quick slide, the Safe Harbor Statement. If you have any questions or want to look at it in more detail, it's on our website as well. So with that, let's get the show on the road. What are you going to learn today? Well, today at the Fastest Path to the Cloud session, what we want to really talk to you about is the Force.com technology. We're going to talk to you about how Force.com can help you, aspiring business application developers, to really build a great application on the cloud, and to leverage the same technology that Salesforce has used to build their enterprise cloud platform from the ground up. The second thing I want to talk to you about is the ISV Partner Program. If you are looking to develop on Force.com, the ISV Partner Program is the program that our team has put together to get you on board and up and running as quickly as possible. So what I'll be talking about is, first of all, how to get signed up on the Partner Program, as well as all of the technical and commercial benefits that are associated with it. Last but not least, we are extremely privileged to have a guest speaker today. Our guest speaker is Sam Mukherjee from ServiceMax. He is the President and CEO and Chief Customer Officer, of ServiceMax. And Sam has been an esteemed partner for quite some time now. He started ServiceMax from the ground up and actually was the winner of the 2008 Dreamforce Force.com $1 Million Challenge. So you're in for a real treat. I think you'll really want to hear about what Sam has to say about his experience developing on Force.com, as well as using Salesforce and leveraging Salesforce as a partner. So by a show of hands, I love to start these type of things by knowing, who my audience is. How many developers do we have in the audience? Okay, great. How many business type aspiring cloud application people do we have? Great, awesome. Well, and for how many of you is this the first Dreamforce? All right, well, I'll raise my hand too. We share a special bond here. I can't wait to get started on this. I can't tell you how excited I am to speak to you. So this is how we're going to do it. We're basically going to talk about the fastest path to the cloud. I'll be speaking for about half an hour. Then I'll invite Sam on stage. He'll talk for about 20 minutes. And what we want to do is reserve some time for questions. I know that we're being running behind, but we'll do our best to give you guys enough time to answer any questions you may have. So you've seen it at the keynote. Mark Benioff is very eloquent on the subject. Cloud computing is transforming IT. Whether you are an aspiring entrepreneur, a CIO of a Fortune 500 type of company, or just anybody who's looking to build an application today that has to be widely distributed, the cloud is really emerging as a powerful platform to build and deploy your applications. This slide will seem familiar to you. Basically, how did this all happen? Well, if you look back at history, we all went from the mainframe model back, a couple of decades ago to the no-frame model now. We're all on the cloud. And applications, whether it's CRM or email or human resources / recruiting type of applications, are all migrating to the web and to the cloud. Why? Because it's such a potent distribution model, and it affords you a lot of technical advantages that on-premise and previous models didn't. So much that we've seen now that actual platforms are moving to the cloud. So platforms, whether it's, Force.com or Google Apps or even Facebook, there's a real this is a watershed moment for our industry in terms of having access to a platform on which you can build and integrate upon. And so why is this? Well, I think a lot of the things that we've seen today, and I think that, this being Dreamforce 2009, how far we've come along, we see that there's a real validation with the cloud computing model. Cloud computing, simply put, is better for a lot of people, for most people, in fact. And it's better because of three key characteristics that Salesforce has helped pioneer. The first characteristic is multi-tenancy. So I'm sure a lot of you are aware of, how exactly multi-tenancy works, but this was one of the founding principles of Salesforce.com when Mark Benioff started the company. He wanted to give you and give his customers, as well as you as developers, the ability to host all of your customers' data on one platform, on one hardware and infrastructure that allows you to just basically add more users and more customers and in a very quick pace without draining any of your capital constraints. And so what multi-tenancy means to you as a aspiring developer or as an aspiring entrepreneur in the cloud application business is that multi-tenancy gives you almost no capital expense out of the box, because you basically can leverage what we've built to start your application from the ground up. The next characteristic about the cloud, is pay as you go. Now, what does that mean for you as aspiring entrepreneurs and developers? Well, pay as you go means that you have predictable operating expenses. So, if you think about it, whenever you're trying to solicit new business, gain new customers, pay as you go, the pay subscription model is extremely powerful once again, because the incremental cost to add a new customer is very predictable, and that amount of predictability is something you can pass on to your customers in the form of savings. And last but not least, the third key attribute of cloud computing is elastic. Now, what do we mean by that? Well, it means that if you're trying to grow your company, let's say you move from 10 customers in 1 year to 100 customers by an order of magnitude the next year. What does that mean on your operational constraints and the things that you worry about? Well, nothing, because with cloud computing, it's as easy as to add more customers as just adding a new user. And put together, all of these three characteristics, what they mean is that you're really gaining a lot of savings. These are total cost of ownership savings as you as an entrepreneur and you as a developer can really pass on to your customers and pass on to your business. On average, our partners have saved $500,000 when calculating the 3-year total cost of ownership. Now, you don't have to just take our word for it or that of our partners. Some recent market research performed by IDC has shown that, contrary to popular belief, worldwide IT spending is going to keep on growing at a steady clip over the next 5 years. And cloud computing business in general is going to grow even faster. So we're moving from about $17 billion market in 2009 to a $45 billion market in 2013. And that's huge. And the key thing that you should take away from this is that cloud computing is outpacing traditional IT spend by a factor of 6. And that's huge. The implications for that are just huge for developers and for entrepreneurs aspiring to build something on the cloud. Clearly, the momentum is with the cloud. Now, you have this validation for the cloud model. You have this the momentum clearly building for the cloud. So this is a really exciting time, and I think that gauging by the reactions of the audience and the amount of people in this room, it's really an exciting time to be an entrepreneur, cloud entrepreneur, or a cloud developer. And you can liken it sort of like with this exciting time. You can liken it to sort of being like a mosquito in a nudist colony. You're just like excited and you don't know where to start. And one of the things is that with this excitement come a lot of questions, of course. And these are actual questions that we got from a lot of our partners when they came to us initially and kind of told us about what their experience was before Force.com. And they range by quite a variety. But what we try to do is put ourselves in your shoes when designing the partner program. And we really try to figure out what were the 2 key pain points that you as entrepreneurs and developers are facing, and how can we answer them with the partner program. So let's talk about the first pain point that we identified. Infrastructure. You're looking to build a killer cloud-based application, but you have to worry about infrastructure. Well, when you think about how you start from like your idea, you have this great idea for a killer app. The things you have to worry about, though, even before you get started, are infrastructure. So by infrastructure we mean application services, operation services, and infrastructure services. If you weigh all of these together, for anybody looking to get to market fast, these are huge constraints on your time and on your money. And they really shift the scale more towards you having to focus on all that infrastructure before you can even get to your idea. And so that's a huge pain point for anybody looking to make a splash in the cloud, answer some unmet business needs that you have the critical competencies to answer. So 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 infrastructure is a huge impediment to your initial innovation. The second pain point that we've identified is that, even if you have the ability to go to market and build your application from the ground up using and leveraging great infrastructure, the other pain point that is really has been echoed by many of our partners is the ability to gain market momentum. And by market momentum, we mean all the steps that you have here from going to, whether it's generating awareness, generating leads, to, actually landing contracts, implementing, and growing your reach to your global customer base. And so it's really an uphill battle for many ISVs to gain that momentum, to gain that traction. And so we took those 2 points into consideration to think about how we could help you get on the cloud. And, with those considerations, we absolutely, the question that you all are probably thinking about is, how do you get into the cloud? So I would like to introduce to you the Salesforce Partner Program. We offer, with the Partner Program, our partners the fastest path to the cloud. And this is both for our partners on the ISV side as well as on the consulting side. But today I'll be focusing on the ISV side. Now, what does the Consulting Partner Program do for you? Well, first of all, the Consulting Partner Program gives you, the ISV Partner Program gives you access to proven technology to build and rapidly scale in the cloud. The second thing it gives to you is proven go-to-market avenues and channels to not only build on the promise of your application, but build on the momentum and get to market fast and make a splash where you need to right away. So let's start with the technology aspect. So, I did not get that slide that Mark presented today. I'm sorry, so there's no chatty or chatter over here. But basically, the point that we wanted to make over here is that Force.com is the same technology. The technology that we want you to use is the same technology that is the bedrock, the foundation of our enterprise cloud platform. And with Chatter added to this cloud, you can only imagine all the possibilities that are open to you to start building a killer application. And let me just quickly walk you through these. So, if you think about our infrastructure that allows Salesforce customers and you to have 99.9% uptime as well as sub-second response times, that's Force.com, and that's the infrastructure that you're going to get. If you think about the platform that allows you to have pre-built, pre-tested components so that you can focus on configuration and innovation rather than coding, well, it's the same platform that Salesforce.com is built on, that our enterprise cloud platform is built on. That's Force.com, and it's the same platform that we give to you. And if you just think about the applications that we've built over time to award-winning design and award-winning applications, which now potentially will include Chatter, that again is all Force.com. So we're really excited to offer this technology that we've built and really invested relentlessly on for the past decade and deliver it to you. So let's look at that technology on a more granular level. As an ISV, as a developer, what does this mean to you? Well, this means that if you think about sort of the fulcrum we looked at before, where innovation outweighs, where infrastructure outweighs innovation, what this means for you is that we take care of all of that infrastructure, and it shifts the balance back to your ideas, and you can focus on your ideas. So we do infrastructure services, we do operation services, and we do application services so that you don't have to, and so that you can focus on building your application and getting it to market. We take care of all that back-end stuff. So whether it's equipping your hardware, figuring out the portioning of your network storage and that type of thing, load balancing and everything, we just take care of that for you. And you can just focus on innovating and on getting your product to market. And when I mean getting your product to market and focus on innovation, the other key component is that if you think about the all of the sort of components that typically you would want to build onto an application, whether it's like multilingual environments, multi-currency environments, reporting and analytics, these are all built-in, pre-tested, pre-built components on Force.com, which you can really leverage to your ends and means. And what that means is that instead of really, obviously there's a lot of options. A lot of people like to have the flexibility to build these components themselves. But if you're looking to really make a splash in the market and get to market fast, these are the components that you need that really give you a jump start on the whole process. So whether it's the ability to switch from your customers around the world, from like, the English medium to the Japanese in like the affair of like a couple of seconds. That's the kind of functionality that comes out of the box with Force.com. You don't have to build that. And while there's a lot of flexibility in building that, one of the drawbacks is that it often has like it often can cause you to delay your IT budget. It can often cause your IT budget to go up, or your production time, development time to be delayed. So we really think that this is a potent model for you to consider, because instead of focusing 80% of your time on coding and 20% of your time on configuring, we flip that over. We turn it on its head. We give you the ability to focus 80% of your time on configuring and finalizing your product rather than like just building everything from the ground up. So why is Force.com different? It's 2009, and now, like after a decade of innovation for Salesforce, the cloud space has actually been more crowded. Everybody's looking to offer a competing offering in the cloud. And we can't be happier as Salesforce.com to welcome these people in our space. It sounds silly, but we really see it as a validation of our model that we really espoused from day one. The fact that we have fantastic competitors as well as partners coming in the space is something that we're really excited about, because again and again, it's a validation of the cloud model. Now, there's a lot of choice out there. And, like these are formidable, great options for anybody looking to develop on the cloud. So what I want to tell you is why we're different. Salesforce is not everything, is not all things to all people. We don't seek to be. But what we really believe is that we can help you build a killer cloud enterprise app better than anybody else. And if you think about the competing offerings, the difference is to use an analogy, let's think of your cloud business, your cloud application as a office building. Let's think that you are trying as a business to build an application. Well, what Amazon, what Azure, what Google does is give you a lot of these building blocks. You have like the rental space, you can establish a storefront. But what they don't give you is the wiring. They don't give you the electricity. They don't give you the desks. They don't give you like the monitors and all of that to set up your business and be up and running. Force.com gives you that. Instead of going from like a warehouse where you have to piece everything together, we are a state-of-the-art fancy building in San Francisco that allows you to build and get started on your application right away. And that's a really strong value proposition for anybody who knows exactly what they want to build. If you want to build an enterprise cloud application that harnesses the power of relational databases, that harnesses the power of the real-time web, real-time customization, Force.com is definitely something you should take a look at. Now, not only do we give all these things out of the box, but we can provide you all these services and you can build your applications 5 times faster at half the cost of that of our competing solutions. Now, how do we figure that out? Well, we partnered with IDC to conduct a study on 10 of our partners. And 10 of our partners, just like you, who went from the initial stage of starting their application building process to actually going to market. And what we found out, IDC found out, was that these, across the board, on average, these partners were able to build their applications 5 times faster than if they had to use .NET or Java. Not only were they able to build their application 5 times faster, but they were also able to build it at half the cost. And if you think about that value proposition, if you are an ISV who is looking for funding, or if you're an ISV that is self-financed, the ability for you to be up and running right away without having to worry about all these capital constraints, without worrying about sinking so much money on infrastructure, that again is a very potent reason to look at Force.com. Now, with this speed, with this ability to go to market, we are really proud to see that our ecosystem of partners has been able to develop a huge variety of applications, whether it's ServiceMax, over here, and you'll hear from Sam, to other people such as Scoodat or FinancialForce.com or Benelicious. These are applications that embrace a wide variety, a wide spectrum, which only speed to market and the efficiencies garnered by Force.com allow you to do. And there are a lot of unmet needs in this market. So if anything appeals to you on this list, definitely take a look at our website. Look at the our publication called the Cloud Crowd, which I think is actually available back here and as well as available on our website. It will just give you a real overview of the richness, the variety of what our partners are building. So we talked about the technology, we talked about the variety, we talked about time to market, we talked about speed to market, and the efficiencies that come with using Force.com and leveraging Force.com. But let's talk about the second pain point that we talked about. Moving the focus from technology to going to market and finding proven avenues, go-to-market channels that will work for you. Let's talk about our ecosystem. If you are a partner with Salesforce.com, ISV partner, you have open access to our entire ecosystem. You have open access to our customer install base, our marketing, our global distribution mechanisms, as well as our delivery. So let's talk about each of these one by one. Let's talk about customer install base. Well, as Mark mentioned this morning, we are proud to serve over 60,000 customers and counting. The amount of growth that we have seen in the past year, in the past couple of years, has been staggering. And these are customers who are all, that could go from Fortune 500 type of companies to small and medium businesses. And the beauty about the cloud, the beauty about Force.com is that we can serve them and deliver the same technology at the same cost for all of them. And so if you take a look at the slide, these are all companies, whether it's from like Dell to Kaiser Permanente to Starbucks to Qualcomm. These are all companies that get the cloud, that have embraced the cloud. And we've helped them, but they can't wait for other people such as you to come and help solve business problems that they have yet to solve. And if you can find a way to transform the way some of these businesses work, the rest of them are up and waiting for you. So there's a lot of opportunity over here. The next element we want to talk about is marketing. And I mentioned the Force.com $1 Million Challenge that ServiceMax and Sam Mukherjee won last year, and Sam will talk about this at length. But the other thing that we do is we have a lot of marketing programs that you can participate in. And one of my favorites is the one that I've been involved in is the Force.com 40 Challenge. And right after this session, actually, I would really urge you to stick around because the winners of that contest are going to be presenting their demos on the stage, and that's a great showcase of the variety and the innovation that's coming out of people such as you. So, the ability to plug into these programs to get that instant recognition, to get that instant publicity is huge. So we've talked about marketing. We've talked about the installed customer base. Let's talk about specific distribution channels. Well, to begin with, why don't we start with the largest cloud marketplace on the planet, the App Exchange. The App Exchange gives you access to 1.5 million subscribers. These are all of our current Salesforce customers. And not only that, but it also gives you the ability to generate leads by just listing your application on our platform and allowing and being able to roll out free trials and then generate and recoup the leads that come out of those. So it's a huge opportunity. 1.5 million customers, the ability to have over 12,000 leads that are passed on to our partners per month. This is a huge opportunity to gain visibility in what is the first and foremost cloud marketplace out there. So, it's no small wonder that it's being called the iTunes of business software. Now, the other option that you have available to your for your distribution is to OEM a Force.com license for your application. And so, what does that mean? That means that you can, instead of depending on what type of application you're building, instead of offering it on the App Exchange and catering to our install base, you can also tap into all of these net new users that we haven't even discovered as Salesforce.com. It gives you the ability to embed a Force.com license to your application and roll out your application and have your customers be able to just log on to like a website in your application and have Force.com power that. So that's an extremely powerful way of distributing your application because it opens the doors to basically a whole world out there of customers and potential subscribers to your business who are just waiting for your business application. And you have the ability to really tap into everything that we have to offer. So how does the pricing for that work? Well, the pricing so far is that if you have an application that you're planning to roll out at a cost of like $65 per user per month or less, the ability to embed the Force.com license will cost you just $15 per user per month. But if you have an application that costs more than that, well, then we will find a revenue model that makes sense, but that it's basically 15% of revenue share. Now, let's talk about the economics of all of this. So, Salesforce.com tries to be is as transparent as ever with their pricing. And one of the things that we want to like sort of posit to you is that if you are using Force.com as your platform, you are really able to tap into Salesforce.com style economics from day one. Now, what does that mean? If you think about it, if you're a cloud-based application if you are an entrepreneur who is looking to roll out a cloud-based application, or you're a developer that's looking to build a cloud-based application, using Force.com allows you to tap into our infrastructure, our marketing channels right away. And what that means for you is that you don't have to invest all this money up front. You don't have to have like these financial forecasts that look red for the first 3 years and then black afterwards. You're starting on sort of like an upswing right away because you have predictable, scalable infrastructure just waiting to serve your needs and at a predictable costs. And so if you take a look at the comparison between your average business looking to build a cloud startup to Salesforce.com to what you get out of Force.com, you're getting operational efficiencies that have been the prize of the industry, that have been the envy of the industry right from the start. And 80% is what we have, but 85% roughly is what you're starting with in terms of gross margin. So let's put some of these concepts to play. I want to talk to you about one of our closest partners and collaborators, Bob Morrell. Bob will actually be here this afternoon on a panel. This is a shameless plug for another panel I'm organizing, but it's called From Garage to Glory. And you will hear from Bob as well as from other partners how they've been really able to leverage Force.com to go from idea to market to $1 million revenues in the space of a couple of months to even in the space of a few years to even a couple of months. And Bob Morrell actually is a great example of this. He built his company from idea to market in 3 months and got his foot in the door to to clients in the risk insurance industry just by leveraging what Salesforce.com had to offer in terms of security and reliability. He was able to outbid a lot of his competitors by just using the name Force.com at the door, and that got him in. So I really urge you to stay and hear what Bob will talk about later this afternoon. But this is a great story because it really showcases the power, the speed, and the reliability and what the competitive advantages Force.com gives you from the get-go. So the next element of our ecosystem is of course, your ability to really tap into our developer base and our knowledge base in terms of best practices and how we can help you and how our developer community can help you get up to speed and running. Developerforce.com is a resource, a website that we put together where we've sort of built a community of developers. Everybody who is involved on Force.com, we have about more than 200,000 developers on this website who engage with each other, who share best practices. And it's also a repository for all the documentation that you would need, whether it's like tools, code samples, tutorials, to be up and running and fast with you harnessing Force.com. So if you're looking for more information on developer.force.com, you can simply log on to this website over here. So we've talked about the ecosystem. We've talked about the technology. All of these are essential tools that we really think can help you get to where you want to be. So the question is, how do you get started? Well, it's really easy. You can get started. Getting started is as easy as following the 3 steps that are outlined here. The first is that you want to sort of really think about what type of product you want to build, your product vision. The second thing you want to do is evaluate what types of technologies are right for you. And you want to really, what we've tried to be as transparent as possible as to what Force.com can offer you. And these are really resources that you should consider using before signing up. And then the third element you want to think about is choosing a go-to-market path. These are the 3 critical things that we really think that you should take a look at and examine before, in order to get started with Force.com. So let's start with product vision. What does getting started with your product vision mean? Well, most of our partners, we've sort of bucketed them in 2 sort of types of categories. One is a partner who builds an integrated offering. What is an integrated offering? An integrated offering is an application that basically builds on CRM. If you're looking for an application that extends the tentacles of CRM, the reach of CRM, into other business critical applications and uses, such as accounting management, field service management, that type of thing, you're going to be building an integrated application. The other bucket are ISVs who develop standalone offerings. So these are offerings that are, such as like, Bob Morell's like Risk Connect, like other examples of standalone offerings that are applications that basically serve an unmet need, sort of like a vertical, a new category that Salesforce.com hasn't been able to get into. So this is really where a lot of the innovation comes in, is that if you're building a standalone application, you're really building an application that is going to be robust from the get-go, but is answering potentially an unmet need. So what you want to think about in your product vision is, what type of application are you going to be building, and what type of functionality are you going to be adding to it down the road. The second step that you want to take is really evaluate our technologies. And so we have a lot of resources for your disposal, at your disposal for that. The first is basically, all of our website assets. If you go to developerforce.com, as I mentioned, that's a great asset for you to take a look at. But the other thing that we have is, you should first of all see what other people have built. And Cloud Crowd, which is this book as well as a PDF you can download from our website, is a great starting point for you to just see the richness and variety of what people have built on our platform. The next thing you can do is go to our website again and download all these white papers, all these analyst reports and research that really validate and showcase the momentum behind the cloud computing movement. And these are, models that have been, these are sort of resources that are put out by IDC, Gartner, and all the known trusted names in the research space. And then finally, you can check out developerforce.com, which I mentioned. So step three. Step three is probably one of the other most critical areas you want to think about. You really want to think about what your go-to-market path will be if you go with Force.com. The App Exchange has a lot to offer. It gives you the ability to tap into like existing customers, Fortune 500 to small, medium businesses, customers who really get the cloud, who have embraced Salesforce.com as their overall solution for success. And if you can integrate into those, get into and be able to cater to unmet needs of these applications and these clients, that opens the floodgates for a lot of subscribers and a lot of success. But you can also take a look at the OEM embedded license and use that as an option, a very flexible option, if you do not want, if you're really looking to acquire net new customers. And as an ISV partner, it turns out that you can actually do both. And somebody who can talk about that again is actually Kirk Crepé, who's the CEO of Aptus. He will be again on that panel, shameless plug once again, to talk about his successes in using both and leveraging both of these channels to much success for Aptus and his products. So if you want to get started today, two main points of contact, two main ways of getting started is if you're a business person, somebody who's, if you're an entrepreneur and looking to build your cloud application, the quickest way for you to get up to speed on whatever Force.com has to offer is just simply go to our partner website. Salesforce.com/partners is a great resource to get started. It will allow you to sign up on our partner portal and get started right away with everything, all the tools that you need, all the resources that you need to start building your application. If you're a developer, and of course you can do both. If you're a developer, we really urge you to take a look at developer.force.com and sign up for a free developer account. This is a free developer account that allows you to use Force.com free edition and roll it out to up to 100 users. So this is a fantastic opportunity. It's on us. We really want you to play with the technology, see if it's the right fit for you, and really get to see what's out there, what opportunities are out there for you. So that actually concludes my prepared remarks, but I would like at this point to invite Sam Mukherjee up on stage. Sam, as I mentioned, is the President and Chief Customer Officer at ServiceMax. He built a great company from the ground up. He was the recipient of the Force.com $1 Million Challenge that took place here at Dreamforce last year. So please join me in welcoming Sam with a round of applause. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you, Indy. Good afternoon. How are we doing over here? How is everybody? Great. I'm here to tell a story. I'm not here to pitch my company. I'm not here to really talk about the business. But I'm here to tell a story as to how ServiceMax got started and how we took advantage of, I wouldn't say advantage, how we partnered with Salesforce and how it all came about. It's a personal story because I have been, intimately and deeply involved with it for over 3 years now. This, by the way, is my third Dreamforce. We launched our company and our product in 2007 Dreamforce, and we won the $1 Million Challenge in 2008 Dreamforce, and here I am sharing my story in 2009 Dreamforce. So that in a nutshell. All right, let me get on with the slide. Now, before I start off, I'd like to tell a bit about, where we come from, because what has been our history, how we started off, how this all came about, because unless you understand everything in context, it might not make sense. So just bear with me. In that context, I'm going to share a bit about ServiceMax and field service and what it does. All right. So ServiceMax, in a nutshell, what we do is field service on demand. So if you look at Salesforce, Salesforce started off as a CRM company. So it has got some of the basic modules that it started off with is marketing, it has got sales, it has got call center. And if the call center needs to extend to the field, if you're manufacturing something of value that you deploy on the field and it has a problem, you need field service, which means RMAs, return materials, depot repair, logistics, parts, scheduling, all that. So that's what we do. We are headquartered in Santa Clara, California, and we have got our engineering out of Bangalore in India. Roughly, we are 50 heads right now, 25 here, 25 in Bangalore. We are 100% native on Force.com, which means that everything that we built, including all the metadata as well as, of course, all the customer data, is on Force.com, 100% native. This obviously has a lot of advantages because all of your customers who use Salesforce.com, they readily can understand that the look and feel and the security and the scalability is just like Salesforce.com. So being native 100% is a great advantage. I'll refer to that a bit later in my presentation. These are some of the logos, some of the places we have been, some of the people that have talked to us. I won't get into that. I'm not pitching the company. In a nutshell, what is field service? It is the maintenance and repair of equipment at a customer's location. That's essentially what it does. It has got a whole bunch of process. In a certain sense, I say that field service straddles between ERP and CRM. So you have got aspects of CRM because you have the customer who has a problem that you're attending. It also has a lot of elements of ERP, which means that it has got parts, it has got inventory, it has got cost, it has got work orders, all those things tied up. So in a certain sense, field service straddles between CRM and ERP. So that's the application that we have put on Force.com. There are a lot of details. I won't go into that because that is not the objective of this talk. Now, field service as a concept, we did not invent it. Field service was there from day one. It has always been there. So there were a lot of, how is field service usually done? Well, we see a lot of companies that do field service with Excel spreadsheets, with emails, on sticky notes, and on paper. A lot of billion-dollar companies, you wouldn't believe it, run field service that way. Of course, there are a lot of the legacy, companies and good applications. Some of them, Vantiv, where the world that I come from personally, Clarify, Siebel, of course, Oracle and SAP, they all have their field service modules. Essentially, what we have done is we have built this on the Force.com, on the cloud. And building on the cloud has got a lot of advantages. It is fast, it is cheap for the customer, end customer, they pay as they go. It is cheap for you to build. Another very interesting thing that it opens up is it opens up the world of customer and partner portals. Field service is a very partner eco-rich system. Just imagine, if you are commissioning, let's say, a furnace. So you have the people who does the hydraulic work, who does the electrical work, the people who does the installation and commissioning, the people who inspect it. All these folks have to do their work on this furnace at different times, and everything put together completes the project. In an Oracle or in a SAP world, that is extremely difficult to do. And in fact, it cannot be really done. In Salesforce, it is much easier because you have partner portals, you have customer portals where you can give limited visibility to that part of the work. The work just flows in, they do the work, and it moves on. So just to drive the point that there are a lot of hidden advantages in building the cloud. Not only is it cheap and it is fast and it is easy, but there are intrinsic collaboration advantages. And now that with all the sort of Twitter-like things, so there are a lot of advantages in the cloud. I'll come to that a bit later on. So there's this divide, and so this is the new world where we are building. So there are partner portals, there are there's real-time updates. You of course get an integrated 360-degree view of the customer, social communities. If I could just quickly show the architecture, this is how it is built. Salesforce has got these modules: Salesforce automation, marketing automation, customer service and support, partner relationship management. And dovetailing into that is our application ServiceMax, which does the field service. It has got entitlements, spare parts and logistics, depot repair, install base management, mobile services, and all the other modules that it takes to do field service. And building on the Force.com, our application is unique in a certain sense that it dovetails and extends Salesforce's own CRM application into the field. So all of our customers that use ServiceMax are essentially Salesforce customers as well. So they use Salesforce modules and they extend that functionality into the field by using ServiceMax, which has actually played to a great advantage for us because many of the Salesforce customers we are approaching and they're our prospects, so it's a ready target customer base where to sell to. Just to show some of our customers, we have got about 40 customers around the world and growing very fast, and our product is being used by as few as a handful of technicians, a small shop running field service, to global multi-billion-dollar customers, having thousands of technicians across the globe, very complex processes. And not only is our application suited to do that, but Salesforce could very easily scale to handle that, which would have been very difficult for a small company starting sort of ground up with their own infrastructure. Typical way they start is they start off with small customers and then start growing and keep getting bigger customers. We have had about hundreds of users, customers right from day one. And because we are built on Salesforce, it could very quickly sort of scale, and from day one we could accommodate their needs. Another great advantage. With this, I will go into a very quick timeline just to give you a flavor as to what it takes to build a company in terms of time scale, where we came from, how it all formed. So this is the personal story of ServiceMax. So from 1996 to 2006, three of us who founded the company, we were into ERP CRM implementations. So we were doing implementations in Oracle and SAP and Siebel. So we need new field service and CRM quite well because we were doing this day in and day out. We knew what were the problems. We knew what were the common customizations. We knew this. We also not only got deep experience, we also retained quite a bit of our earnings. So we had some money to invest and build this. In the year 2005, one of our customers, they introduced us to Salesforce.com. We had actually never heard of Salesforce at 2005. So one of our customers became a SFA, Salesforce automation sort of customer, and introduced us, say, hey, like this is a new product that we have bought. Can you implement it for us? Because of the deep relationship. And we said, we have never sort of heard of this. We don't know this. So we learned this and we actually implemented it for them, Salesforce automation. And that's how we came to know about Salesforce. We came to know about the App Exchange that was just being formed, the Force.com platform, which was just being sort of put out there as a platform as a service. And that was a real lucky break that actually just happened, and that's how we got introduced to Salesforce. In 2006, we started, while implementing this Salesforce application, we saw that this is a very cool platform. This is a very cool ecosystem that's formed. We were all this, the activity and the excitement, and we got caught up, and we started thinking, what can we build over here, if at all? And we noticed that there was no field service module, and being in CRM for so many years, we knew that anybody with manufacturing or anything that they produce of value in terms of machinery or systems or product will need something field service down the road, and that wasn't there. And therein we saw our opportunity to build field service. As I mentioned, 2007 Dreamforce, we actually launched ServiceMax. And, we sort of thought long and hard about this, that should we have a consulting practice going on side by side? Because that was bringing us quite good money for us, good revenue, good cash. But we said, we actually found out that we couldn't run, there were a lot of conflicts in that. So this needed all our energy, so we had to dwindle that and, sort of shut it down, concentrate everything on, ServiceMax on Force.com. It was a big decision for us, like sort of totally turning a consulting services company into a product company. It was a big decision. We went through a lot of sort of discussions and, sort of long nights we were awake, and we said, should we do it? Is it the right thing? We are so glad we actually took that decision. 2008 Dreamforce, we won the $1 Million Challenge, and as a result, we got funded by Emergence Capital. So they funded us, and we sort of got off to a good start, and we could do everything that we always wanted to do. Running a company with your own money, and I've been there, when you are not funded, is really hard. People talk about a lot of processes and a lot of roles and a lot of matrices of a company. While you're starting off and you're running in that mode, none of that works. You are the CEO and you are the janitor. You are assembling the desks, you are writing the code, you are meeting the customer, you are handling, fighting all the fires, you are trying to raise money, you are trying to put the presentations, everything. So there are no rules really at that time. But getting the funding, we became a sort of a real company with real processes. Now we have our CEO Dave Yarnold is there, and we have got a real team, and things are going real good. 2009, we have 40 global customers, 50 employees, and roughly we are getting 50% quarter-over-quarter growth. So, which is, in this economy, when many companies and many startups are just going out of business, I think this is a phenomenal thing. So we are just waiting for the economy to take off, which we are seeing already the indications. I think it is just going to be a tremendous, very good story. As I mentioned, we have got dual shore operations in Santa Clara and Bangalore. This has been very, useful for us, very handy. And one of our partners actually is from Bangalore. We are all from India. He lives in Bangalore, and he wanted to go back, and he's running the engineering and support and the center over there. And that gives us almost 24 hours, sort of clock. So people do part of the work here, they hand it over while they go home. The entire night things get done there, gets handed back over here. So very fast, development and cycle time. So we are real happy about that. All right. Now I'm going to come to the most interesting part, what I want to share, and I'm calling them cloudy takeaways. What were the learnings? Because I often talk to a lot of people, young folks who are trying to build on this platform, who are trying to start a new business. We're all excited and starry-eyed, and these are some of my observations from having been there, done that. The rules. As I mentioned, there are no rules during startup. In the sense that I always mention this, that in this world or in the real physical world, the laws of physics hold true. So there are physical laws. But the scientists tell us, or physicists tell us, that while the universe was formed during the Big Bang, all these rules just didn't apply for that nanosecond or that small amount of time. The same thing with a startup or with a company being formed. None of the rules really apply. The only rules that apply is determination and sort of the ability to sort of stay the course and to push it through. I tell people this all the time, that do not start a company just because you can create Visualforce pages or write Apex code. That is not good enough reason to start a company. It might be a good first step. It might be a good first step to know this platform and know this ecosystem. But to start a company, you have to know and you have to plan much beyond this. And many a starry-eyed 20-something-year-old people don't get it. So I asked them, what is your core competence? And if you don't have a core competence, it's time to get one. If you want to start a business, you got to understand business. You got to solve a business problem. Everything said and done, the cloud computing and Visualforce and Apex coding is a way and means to get there. But what you're essentially solving is a business problem. There needs to be a need for that solution out there. If it is not there and you're trying to force something, it's not going to last. Widgets versus business applications. What are you creating? If you look at the App Exchange, you'll find a lot of applications that we typically term as widgets. And in our company, we have we call them, this is a BMP to GIF converter. Well, BMP to GIF converter is a very nice application, useful. But how are you going to create a business out of that? I mean, how are you going to sort of get growth and momentum and sustenance out of that? You have to think it through. Possibly there is. I've got nothing wrong with BMP to GIF converters. They're very useful. But if you're trying to form a company, you're trying to build a business, you've got to be very careful as to what you are creating and whether you want to have a widget or you want to have a real business application. So, of late, we are finding, especially because of the easy mode of delivery and distribution, some of these widgets have become very successful. So if you have widgets, possibly you might have millions of subscribers at a very low cost, and that might be a viable business model. Typically, if you have a business application, you won't have that many users. You might be selling to actually big businesses. The individual cost per sale will be high, but it's easier possibly to solve business problems and to get sustenance. But something to think about. What you're building, and these two come from different buckets. So you have to think right off the bat, what are you trying to build, who your customers are, what the volume, what the sustenance is going to be going down the road. Now this is a cliche. You have heard this all the time. We heard this. And when we actually faced this, so we already took care of this during our planning sessions, but we still found this to be true. It's going to take twice as long, and I'm going to say it's going to take 4 times the money. There's another thing I'd like to point out, that this business model is SaaS, software as a service. So people are going to rent your solution, your application. In a certain sense, that's very good for the end customer. It might not be very good for you as a young business, because the first year or the second year, you are not going to see too much of revenue, possibly, if you don't have. Because unlike a software that sells for its entire life cycle cost right up front, you are going to get only a bit of the total cost up front. Usually in this business, the first or year and a half's cost goes towards cost of sales. So you're going to see the profit only in your second, third, fourth, and fifth year. That's when the gravy train is going to start, and it's going to start going on and on and on, just like Salesforce in its 10th year. The renewal business, the people who are renewing, is huge. And that's going to happen in if your business is successful as well, but it's going to take time. It's not going to happen in the first year or the second year, possibly. And that is something that you need to plan for, how you're going to sustain, how the model is going to be, how the cash flow is going to be. Something to think about if you are building in the cloud. Force.com is the way to go for all the right reasons that Indy pointed out, and this entire conference you will get glimpse of that. There are websites and this thing. I mean, it is the best platform. We have been looking at platforms all the time, and we continue looking at all the other platforms that are growing, mushrooming now. We find Salesforce.com's Force.com platform to be light years ahead of all the rest. For reasons of maturity, of scalability, of having made all the mistakes, plugged all the holes, sort of taken care of all the things, made it convenient, made it open. There are a lot more people available as developers out there if you want to hire with the skills. So it is just a lot more easier to build on Force.com. If you want to go with the cloud, this is definitely the cloud to go for. I mean, that's my take. And we are looking at all of the clouds that are being formed all the time. This is also a cliche, but I can't sort of emphasize this more, I would like to really emphasize is that get customers, paying customers as early as possible. This is the true validation, not what your friends say, not what your wife says or spouse says or mother-in-law says. They'll all find your application great. Paying customer is the only validation of a business. It's the only validation that your idea is going to work. I wouldn't say even a prospect who says, yeah, this is good, great, like this thing. No. Are you ready to put money on this? The moment they start doing that, that's a great validation. Not only are you going to believe in your business, everybody else, including investors, is going to believe in you. So if you are going to build a business, that's the first thing you should consider on. Get paid customers on your system as early as possible, even in beta. Build incremental functionality. Don't try to build the entire thing. Don't try to tweak everything. We'll launch it after everything is done. That usually doesn't pay off. And the Force.com platform is very good for incremental, sort of releases. Building it, in a small fashion, building out pieces of it, getting it out there, letting people use it, and then, sort of growing and polishing it out. Don't try to do everything right up front. We had that challenge, and we were, sort of debating as to when to launch it, because field service is a huge application. We are still building a lot of parts of our application, and we'll possibly be building, in the next, several years. But we are so glad that we launched it when we did, because there's a time to value. There's a time for everything. So you need to be ready, and, you need to have the courage to put it out when everything is not perfect. And the world and your customers will understand that. But that's another thing that goes with Force.com. They will understand that because you are on the Force.com platform and with Salesforce, you have the basic fundamental maturity to grow and build whenever you are ready, or as you go along, because the platform and the infrastructure is all there. Don't clamor for Salesforce's attention early on. Clamor for a customer's attention. This is something when we were building and we were sort of trying to deploy it on the Force.com platform, we used to often come to Salesforce and say, like, help us, help us, give us your customers list, take us to your customers, give us. That usually does not work very well for various reasons. Firstly, Salesforce has got thousands of partners clamoring, saying that ours is the best, take us to your customers. Secondly, it is still not proven. You need to prove that your application works and it has got business value before all these things will happen. And believe me that once you prove yourself, all these channels are going to open up for you. We have got a very good relationship with Salesforce, and we are going into a lot of joint opportunities right now, but it took some time for us to get there. But of course, customer attention, clamor for that right from day one, because I cannot emphasize it enough that that is the true validation of your product and your business proposition. And my last point, there is a lot to be built. We are just getting started. I often hear folks come say, oh, there's everything that has to be built, is already out there. What else can we do? Like, we are just getting started. We haven't even scratched the surface. Believe me, I believe the internet and this technology, we are just getting started. In the next 20, 30, 50 years, we're going to see amazing things. Why in the next 20, 30? In the next couple of years, we're going to see amazing things. We're going to see game-changing technology and game-changing solutions. We're already seeing it. We all use, now this is going to become the computer, pretty much. Like, it's going to change the game. I mean, things like this is going to happen all the time. So definitely there's a lot to be built, and there is a lot of prospects out there, and Salesforce.com is, if you are getting started thinking of building an application and a business, this is definitely the way to start. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
We're open for questions.
Yes. So I think, given the changes in the shift in the schedules, I think we're going to be running out of time for questions. So here's what I would like to propose. First of all, you can stay in your seats right here because there's going to be the Salesforce.com finalist showcase right here. And I think you're going to learn a tremendous amount from just seeing what these other people have built. But the other thing I'll propose is that I will actually be available on this floor for the remainder of the week. So if you do have any questions about the topics that I covered and Salesforce and how to get on board an ISV partner, you can come and seek me at any time right after the session or down on the partner conversations area. And if you have any questions for Sam,
just send me an email, sam@servicemax.com.
Okay. So thank you very much for your patience. I do apologize for the curtailing the Q&A session, but next up is the Salesforce.com 40 Innovation Showcase Demonstration Derby. So I think you guys would really enjoy it. Thank you.